Welcome to a 30-minute back bend focused yoga class. And those of you who've been practicing with me for a while know that a lot of my kind of heart opening flows don't really directly focus on back bends. Today's class is going to be completely the opposite. We are going to be really strategic. We only have 30 minutes. We're going to be strategic, we're going to be precise, and kind of focus on the same theme as we move through these poses, and kind of go straight towards a back bend. The back bends we're going to be working with are kind of lunge-based back bends, so not the full wheel. We'll be doing that in our flow class live. So get ready. This is for everybody. Not everyone is going to go into the deepest back bend, but everybody has a spine. And that's what we're working with today. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Stand on your mat. Widen your feet a little bit wider than a hip's width. That's how we're going to start. And as I mentioned, the spine is what we're doing with back bends. We're flexing and rounding the spine. That's what we're doing in a back bend. And spinal health is so important. Spinal mobility is so important. So that's really like the focus of what we'll be doing with our movement today. We're going to start with some neck rolls, the top of the spine. So drop your chin to your chest. Roll one ear to shoulder. Do this a couple times on one side in one direction. As you are making these movements, first just check in with what is pulling around your neck, shoulders, maybe even jaw. And then also notice if this movement affects anywhere else in your spine, in your back. Next time chin comes to chest, switch directions. Notice similarities and differences. So our spine is really precious, and it's also really strong, but we have to be smart about the way we access it, we stretch it, we strengthen the muscles around it. Next time chin comes to chest, lift your head, take a moment to get your bearings if you're a little dizzy. And with that slightly wider than hips width stance, go ahead and circle your hips. So we're going the opposite end of the spine, down to those hips, where the tailbone meets the sacrum. Make the circle. And so this is that hula hoop style movement, which is not actually how you would hula hoop, but it feels like we are. Same thing, just kind of notice what feels tight or what's kind of pulling down in your hips, and then also what do you feel throughout the rest of your back, maybe even up to your shoulders. And then switch directions. So we're going to be in this kind of warm-up stage for a little while, and then kind of bring these movements into the rest of what we'll do today. Let this be a time of observation, attention, and deepening awareness to how our body works together for movement. Good. Come into stillness. Once again, just realign with your center. If you feel a little dizzy, just pause. I'm going to turn to the side just for demonstrations purposes. We are going to do some hip tilts. And the reason that these are so important is because the position of your hips in a back bend is really important. So we're going to do that. And then they're also really good for strengthening and mobilizing. So we're going to first just identify what I mean by the certain things that I'm saying, and then we'll just go right into them. So hands on hips, bend your knees. And actually, you can bring your feet a little closer so they're truly hips width apart. Will be helpful. Toes straight ahead. So slight bend of knees. And then hands on hips, and this should be kind of your neutral. Go ahead and now tuck your tailbone forward, move it forward. That's your tuck or your scoop. And then send your hip bones back. I'll call that a flex. So neutral's in the middle, tuck, flex. Neutral middle, tuck, flex. So now that you've done these a couple times, it should be easier to identify that neutral, because the neutral doesn't involve muscle action in either way. So you take a pause at neutral. That's a really important place to understand where your hips are. We'll do about 3 more of these. You can go fast or slow. Make sure you have a stop in neutral. Good. So we're going to go, you can straighten your legs for a second. We're going to go into the arms, as they're important for back bends as well. Inhale, reach your arms up, hook your thumbs, reach your arms back as far as you can go with your thumbs hooked, and then like your swimming backstroke, go back. And now hook your thumbs, other thumb on top, up, open, and back. So do that, you can, kind of speed it up now that you've got the movement. And back, up, open, and back. So go ahead and do this a couple times. Switch your thumbs each time. This is an excellent movement to throw into a work day, a little break. The next time that you hook your thumbs, either one, reach your arms now just in line with your ears. I'm going to turn again this way. Bend the knees a little bit. And now do those hip tucks. So forward, tuck, back, neutral. Forward, back, neutral. Forward, back, neutral. Just notice what happens to the shoulders now that there's a little bit more effort and engagement up there through these 3. Good, and then relax. Your arms, we'll just do the other side, so meaning opposite thumb in front, up, arms in line with ears, bend the knees, forward, back, neutral, forward, back, neutral. Notice what happens in your middle back with your arms elevated. One more. And relax. Nice job. We've got one more thing to do here. I'm going to stay facing this way. So bring your feet a little closer together, not touching, but just so that you've got a really good center of gravity. Bend your left knee and hold the outer edge of your foot. So we will do dancer pose later in this class, but right now we're just stretching the thigh. So point your knee down to the ground, pull your belly up. Now that is a little tuck of the tailbone forward. I want you to keep that. Tuck the tailbone forward, reach your right arm up. We're here to stretch the thigh, but also build that relationship to your hip engagement. If you want to just do one try, you could do neutral hips and then maybe stick your hips back, but then come back into that tuck, point the knee down. You should feel the deepest thigh stretch with the tailbone tucked. Take one more breath. Other side. So feet underneath your hips, bend your right knee, hold the foot, and then direct the knee down to where your foot would be if you were standing. Left arm beside your ear. Tuck your hips forward. And just breathe into that lengthening right thigh. Another thing that we forget about when we're prepping for back bends or thinking about doing a back bend in a vinyasa class is how tight are your thighs. They're so important in the back bending, because back bending is all about front body engagement, or front body stretching rather, back body engagement. Take one more breath. Maybe do that neutral and then send your hips back and then tuck them forward just to see. And release. Great job. Go ahead and stand to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, step left leg back, lunge. So just stay here for a second. Again, that front thigh stretch of your left leg. Step your right leg back, plank. Inhale, plank. Exhale to belly unless you're modifying for pregnancy. Inhale, lift your heart up. And exhale, downward dog. So you can do back bends pregnant, but as everything with pregnancy, you just need to back off the depth. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. So once again, just this low lunge, but back knee lifted, and then feel the stretch of your right thigh. Inhale, step to the front of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, soften. Inhale, arms to sky. Exhale all the way down, other side, same thing. Super simple, right leg back. So we're on the same side we just were. Open front hip. Open front thigh. Step back plank. Lower to belly. Peel into cobra. Take one breath here. Back to downward dog. Full breath. Inhale, right leg high. Step the foot through. Stretch the thigh. Breathe. Step forward, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left leg back. And now come up to high lunge. So you're in high lunge, right knee like a square, back leg straight. So first things first, hands on hips. Soften your back knee. I want you to do a couple of those hip tucks. So it's way different here. The movement, the range of movement is way smaller. I just want you to notice what you feel in your body when you do those hip tucks. Good. Arms overhead, hook your thumbs. Now you can straighten your back leg. Keep the right knee square. Activate from your left arch through your left leg. Tuck the tailbone a little bit. Pull your belly in. Lift your heart. You don't have to go back very far. You should always envision a beach ball behind your back. So no part of your back should crunch. Rather, you just keep extending the spine longer. 2 more breaths. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, twist. Left hand, right thigh, right hand, left thigh, open. Inhale, arms to sky. Exhale, hands down, left knee down. We're in low lunge now. Heel toe your right foot, 1 footprint to the right, and then lift your toes and turn them over to the right. Drop your left hand forward and down. Right hand on thigh, and we're going to sink into your hips. So this is an asymmetrical twist. Just kind of sink into it. And then only if it feels right. So the way that you'd kind of check in with this is if you are on top of your thigh, not your knee, and you can just easily bend and lift your foot off of the mat. Just see about that. That might even just be a really nice stretch. You don't want to go any further. Or if you don't have to struggle, you hold your right foot. You hold your left foot with your right hand. We're not going to make this a big deal pose. It's here for the twist and also to get some asymmetry into the stretch. Take a deep breath. Keep pushing right foot flat. Good. Relax your foot. Bring your left toes down. Bring your right leg back. Couple cow cats here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, foot through to hands. So you're going to be strong through your legs as you rise up, high lunge. Get low in that left thigh. And now with soft knee, right knee, go ahead and do a couple tailbone tucks. And again, you're going to notice that when you're in this split leg position, it is a very different scenario. It's more just for information. Good, and then straighten your back leg. Hook your thumb, see if you can remember which one you did, and switch up. Straighten back leg, bend that front knee, activate the foot, the calf, the thigh, come through the hips. Small tailbone tuck forward, pull belly in, lift heart. It doesn't have to look big to feel big. Over a beach ball. 2 breaths. Inhale up. Exhale, right hand, left thigh, left hand, right thigh. Twist. Inhale up through center. Exhale, hands down, right knee down. Heel toe your left foot over one footprint, then lift your toes, dial them to the left. Right hand goes forward and out. Left hand to left thigh. So again, this is a great thigh stretch. It's a great hip stretch, great spine stretch. If you can make sure you're on top of the knee and it just bending and lifting your foot like this is no problem, doesn't hurt your knee, then do that. Maybe you just stay like that. Or if it's not a big reach to grab your foot, go ahead and do that. And again, we're not making this a primary pose. Instead, using it to continue to open up the body for some of our other poses coming up. Push that left foot down. Keep breathing. Good, release. Bring your right toes down. Heel toe your left foot in. Bring your left leg back. And just transition to the belly. We're going right into Sphinx pose. So, Sphinx pose, I'll talk about the legs in a moment. You're going to have your arms parallel, your hands in line with your elbows, and elbows directly underneath your shoulders. And then what I want is you to tuck each toe, lift that thigh and rotate it inward. Tuck each toe, lift the thigh and rotate it inward. And I want to highlight that because that's a really important piece of a lot of the back bends that we do, is that rotation of your thighs inwards. Push the feet down, pull the belly in, make your spine long, pull your heart forward, push your head back. Sphinx pose. A lot of you know this is a favorite pose of mine. I think it's really healing. It's gently strengthening. And unless you're pregnant, and I'm sorry, I'll give you a alternative in a moment, it is really accessible to most. If you're pregnant, you're going to hit your back for bridge pose, as we will be here on our belly for a little while. So you can be doing bridge right now, pregnant folks, and you'll do that a couple different times as we switch here on our bellies. Take one more deep breath, Sphinx. Good. And then relax. You're going to lift your right hand and dial that elbow so the forearm is parallel to the front of the mat. Once again, because our body changes, you're going to lift your left thigh and roll it in. Bend your left knee to hold the foot, left hand to inside a foot, and then I want you to kick that foot back. So this is a little more intentional building towards our final pose. I want you to kick that foot into the hand and really open your chest. Breathe here for 3 more breaths. A great stretch for tight wrists and hands from the computer. Good, and then relax. Those of you who are on your back for bridge, you just keep switching from bridge to rest, bridge to rest. Left elbow down, forearm parallel. Lift your right, or tuck your right toes, lift your right thigh and rotate inward. Bend the right knee, hold the inner right foot, and then once you've got a grip, kick the foot back, kick, 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 kick. Open your chest. Breathe. Two more long breaths. Keep the action. Action is essential for back bends. They are not sleepy poses. Good, relax. And then we're doing one bow pose. So that means both hands hold the feet. This is not necessarily accessible to everybody. So if it's not for you, you're going to just repeat a stretch on one leg and then the other. Those of you who can grab both feet, go ahead and once again roll your inner thighs inward. Forehead on the mat, bend the knees, hold the feet. Take an inhale, tuck your tailbone forward. Exhale, stay, keep tailbone tucking forward. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your feet. 3 breaths, kick. One more inhale. And relax, nice job. Come back up. I'm going to meet in downward dog. We're going to do a twist in downward dog, which is essential. Any back bend, it's great to then twist the spine. So you're going to walk your hands back, one handprint each. Lift your heels, bend your knees, and then take your right hand to your left heel or calf or thigh, and then straighten that leg. Look underneath your left armpit. Switch it up. Other hand. Start with bent knees, left hand, right heel, calf or thigh, and then straighten that right leg. Good, left hand down. Walk your hands back towards your feet. With bent knees, roll up from your belly. Come to stand. I'm going to just step to the middle of the mat for visibility. We are going to do dancer pose. So lots of you have done dancer pose with me before, or dancer pose in lots of other yoga practices, but we're just going to really focus on the heart opening aspect of it. So we'll start with standing on your right leg, bending left knee, holding outside of left foot. Direct that left knee down and tuck the tailbone. Pull your belly in, lift your heart, and then reach your right arm up. And then bend your right knee. So I want some more mobility so the hips have a little more room to work this pose. And then kick the foot back. Lift the heart, kick the foot back. Lift the heart, kick the foot back. Lift the heart. Now you can keep your hand on the outside or transition it to the inside. Either way, I want your heart to stay lifted and your foot to go high. Chest and hips more or less facing forward, not a side bend. Keep kicking. Notice what's going on in the hips. Neutral hips are fine. Tuck tailbone a little bit. That's really hard to do. But we don't want to just kind of fly our hips back. Just the leg. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. It's okay to fall. And come upright. Stand a little wider and let it go. I'll switch sides for our second cycle. Second side. So, hips width apart, soft knees, neutral hips to start. Bend your right knee, hold the foot, tack that knee down, and then tack the hips forward for the tailbone tuck. Then, draw that front line up, belly in, hips forward, left arm to sky. Heart lifts. Then, soften your left knee and start to kick. If you want to switch that inner line of the hand, that's fine. Kick, lift. Kick, lift. Don't lean forward. Kick, lift. Keep your left knee a little soft. See what's going on with the hips. 3 breaths. Keep so much action here. Good. Come out of it. Stand and just let it go. We have one more big back bend pose. I'm going to give you 2 options. So come to the back of your mat. Inhale, reach here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, walk it out, downward dog. So you're in downward dog, but if you want to look at the screen for a second, that's great. We haven't really talked about pigeon pose, and not everyone can do pigeon pose where facing forward. So option 1 is going to be lunge here with possibly a back bend here. Now the truth is that's a harder back bend. But if you can work towards that and it doesn't put undue pressure on your front knee and like it does in pigeon, then I want you to go there. So from downward dog, you have 2 options. If you're someone who is concerned about pigeon pose or just knows it's not the best pose for your body, you're stepping foot forward into lunge. If you feel okay in pigeon pose, you're bringing right knee forward into pigeon. Right knee is near right wrist, right foot is near left hip. If you're in pigeon, you're going to slide your left hip back, left knee back rather. And then everybody, lunge or pigeon, you're going to come upright. In pigeon, you're going to have to keep your hands down. In lunge, you can rest your hands on your right thigh. Pull your belly in. Gentle scooping of hips forward. Everybody, see about bringing your left hand to your left inner thigh. That is a great starting and stopping point. Next stage is seeing if you can bend your back knee. Now in that lunge, it might be hard, so don't push it. If you can't do it, you can't do it, and you leave it there. Pigeon, it's a little easier access, but it's not worth messing with your knees if it doesn't work for you. Hold your inner left thigh just like dancer. Lift your heart. Kick your left foot back. And then you can change the energy. You can start to pull your left foot in, lifting your heart. And then, only if this is right for you, and again, it's a little harder in lunge, maybe you can lift your right arm up. Maybe you can hold your right hand behind your head. And maybe you could hook your two hands. This is not a pose that I've been doing regularly, so I'm not going to push it. I really love keeping my body healthy and open, and no yoga pose is worth an injury. So take 2 more deep breaths. Gently release your left thigh. If you're in pigeon, just come down and lean your elbows forward. If you're in lunge, come to child's pose and take a rest. We just want a calming moment here in between sides. Transition to downward dog, everybody. Find that neutral spine, that long spine. And then inhale, left leg high. You know your body. You're going to lunge or to pigeon. In pigeon, left knee, right, left wrist. Left heel is close to right hip. Slide your right knee back as you come upright. So this is, I didn't say it on the other side, this is a neutral hipped pose. You may, as you create the back bend, do a little scooping, but it's really not much because there's not a lot of room for your hips to move. What you don't want is to send your hips back. You want to instead keep them neutral or pulling forward. Start by bringing right hand to inner right thigh. This is a great stretch and one that could be your pose. Next, reach back and hold your foot if your knee bends with ease. It's not a strain. It doesn't feel like it's cracking or cricking. And then kick back, find your balance, pull your belly and lift your heart. Maybe draw in, pulling heel towards seat. Maybe reach left arm up, hooking behind your head. And once again, if it's available to you, possibly hooking your two hands and knowing your limits, knowing where you push and where you pull back. Two more deep breaths, expanding. And then release. Child's pose or pigeon to rest. Just a couple breaths to bring the energy down, to soften, to realign. Come onto your left hip if you're on your pigeon. If you're in child's pose, sit up. You're going to sit on left hip with knee bent and bring right foot over and across for a seated spinal twist. If you want to give yourself a little prop of blanket or small pillow under your seat, that's a great idea. And then lift up. So your right knee is stacked tall, your left thigh is on the ground. Inhale, reach left arm up. Exhale, hug right knee with left arm, twist, As I mentioned, back bends, our body does best when we close a back bend with a twist. Not an aggressive twist, but a complete twist. Again, all of this is about your spine. Mobility, agility of your spine. Come through center, switch your legs. Same thing, other side. Left knee is now tall, right thigh is on the ground. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, hug left leg. Twist and stay tall. And again, we don't want to be aggressive, we want to be complete. Those are so different. Take one more breath. Come through center, sit in a cross-legged seat and just bring your hands onto your knees, sit tall. Travel the line of your spine with your mind, that channel of energy that flows through your body, brain to body, body to brain. Thank you for being here. Feel free to continue to rest, to meditate, to do some deeper stretches. Have a great day.